Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. My co-host Brian, you got me Squints, and we got our new friend Warren Phillips, non-toxic dad. Welcome, brother. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for coming out.
Yeah, it's been great. Great trip to LA, having a good time.
There you go.
So I remember when I first reached out to you, you were like under 100,000. Now you're touching 400,000. What's been the viral growth over the last couple months?
I don't know. Like, I just think that I care deeply about this, and I didn't realize the impact you could have through social media. I essentially threw away my phone probably 2018. Someone challenged me because it was just affecting my personal life with my wife and my children. Daddy, get off your phone. I'm like, that's bullcrap. I want to be present with my family. I want to have heart connection. That's the juice of life. You guys got kids. You understand that. That
Yep.
just fills you, right?
Yeah.
And something that's a barrier between me and my children, like it was a hard but easy decision. And so I got away from social media. But I've been in this health space since 2005. So I've been doing it a long time, coaching natural health practitioners about detox, non-toxic living, all that stuff. And so I got another challenge by somebody who said, hey, Warren, we can get into my story, how I got into just so into this stuff and why I learned so much. It's from personal need and hurt, right, of getting sick myself. But he challenged me because I was complaining about the information that was online. I'm like, that's too judgmental. Like, that's not down the middle. That's not educating people. You're not using good psychology and like to plant seeds that can grow and wake people up. You're being too harsh and too divided, right? And I think those years between 2019 and 2021 show us that division isn't the way to go. We really got to have a message that is as pure as you can get it, entertaining. And you're in the entertainment industry, you understand like just to reach people and come from an EQ, an emotional intelligent. Is that EQ or EI? You'd be EI. You got to have high EQ and it's called EI. So emotional intelligence, right?
Yes.
So I think that's maybe because that's a growth, or maybe because I've been doing this shit for so long that actually, for the most part, know what I'm talking about, right? I mean, I make mistakes. I could misread a study, but have grades. Hey, cool.
It's science.
It is science.
Science is meant to be rewritten, right?
Yeah.
It's just something that is going to be changing and ever evolving as more, studies are done and stats come out,
Yeah, it does change. There's some neat science that I've been reading on heavy metals. We can get into that maybe a little bit too, on it causing your cells to age really quickly, what's called cellular senescence. And it just, you age, right? And we all age, our cells are aging, and then their telomere lengths drop, and then you die. But heavy metals accelerate that aging quickly, so you become a bag of old cells much more quickly. So that could be something we talk about. But I'm getting off topic.
Not really.
Yeah.
It's interesting. So when I was young, I did a film. It was called Safe, and I was a little kid. I was probably, I want to say, when was the Northridge quake? Was it 92 or 94? 94, right?
94.
94, yeah. So we were shooting that film when the Northridge earthquake happened. But the film was by a director named Todd Phillips, and it was called Safe. And Julianne Moore was a star. She was just coming off a Oscar win for something, and it was an artsy flick. But it was about a woman that became allergic, just filled with tox, and became allergic to everything. And electronics. We didn't know much about it at the time because it was such a new topic.
Probably considered crazy back then.
Super crazy. That's what the film was about. It was about her going to some retreat in Malibu to live like a primitive life, basically, to get away from all of these toxic things. And I mean, at the time shooting it was so ahead of its time that like it was just a weird expose into some thing at the moment that now we're realizing is
that girl was right.
She was right. Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember that, like when I got sick back in 2004, you went to every medical doctor, chiropractor, like the local medical doctor in Podunk, Zillionople, Pennsylvania, right? Just 4 buildings on a street and doctor's offices down there. He's like, here's a Fexer, here's a pain med. Most people are on 3 or 4 meds. You'll be only on 1 or 2. How long do I need to be on this the rest of your life? Made me sick, like totally just judgment everywhere.
What was
right?
your symptoms back then that led you to the doctors?
Yeah, give us a brief run up of like how you were feeling and how you found out that there's something wrong.
Yeah, it's that again, you know in your gut
Yeah.
You know, it was easy for me from some respects because I cleaned up hazardous waste for a living. I have a master's degree that focused on toxicology and low temperature aqueous geochemistry, how the environment can affect human health and the environment, essentially. So it was a lot of binding of heavy metals in soils and the plant uptake, which we can talk about with hemp and the cacao tree and how they absorb heavy metals. We looked into all that stuff and streams because we're in Montana where it's just all abandoned mines.
Yeah.
And so that's where my graduate work was. I was a country boy from Pennsylvania. I wanted to go fly. I watched a river runs through it.
Yeah.
With Brad Pitt and those guys. And it just, I'm like, freaking, and between that and Louis L'Amour books, like when I got out of undergrad, I'm like, I'm going out west, like going with my buddy. He went to Bozeman. I got a full ride to U of M as a teaching assistantship, but just studying that stuff.
That's
like in my
cool.
country, Hicks coming out. I'm studying that, you know. I'm a Yinzer. I'm from Pittsburgh area.
I'm from
right?
Pittsburgh.
No way.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, do you have like a personality that reminds me of my cousin Scott, who ironically, I was gonna tell you this,
Yeah.
like your smile, your personality, your memory is like my cousin Scott, who freaking the ring that was happening, that was my cousin Scott. So all this, maybe that's an energetic thing.
That's cool.
So,
yeah,
you
I'm from New Brighton. I was born there.
Oh, yeah.
River Falls. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I was just back actually recently this summer. When we did a Sandlot event at a Pirates game. It was really cool.
That is
I got
cool.
a lot of family back there. Yeah.
One of my good friends, Mike, he's from there, and I mean, he was my bass fishing partner before I moved out here, to Utah, and he's from there. Why I can't think of his last name? You have to know him. It's a small town. He lived there. I'll remember it later. We'll talk off camera. That's really cool.
Small world.
Yeah, it is a small world.
So you felt it in the gut?
Felt it in my gut, right? Getting us back on track here. So yes, I started cleaning up hazardous waste. I got out of graduate school, went into the environmental consulting field. I'm from the reduce, recycle, reuse Berkeley influence in my small college, Allegheny College in Meadville, Pennsylvania. Great school, but liberal arts college, definitely the green movement, which I still believe in this day, right? I have a different spin on it. Taking care of the planet, you know, it's going to kick your ass, you know. Take care of your body. If you don't, it's going to kick your ass with toxins. So I went into the field. I'm going to clean up the environment. So my master's work and then environmental consulting, we had 8A contracts, small disadvantaged businesses. We have this contract with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, the U.S. Forest Service. So we did these federal use defense site cleanups. We did abandoned mine cleanups. So I'm running around assessing soils because this was my mission. I loved it. But in that process, I was getting inhalation. That's one of my 5 pillars, toxic inhalation of heavy metals all the time, every day, all day, amongst digging up battery sites. Just people are just bury toxic shit, you know, all over. And then I eventually wound up developing symptoms. Shortly after I did a grain silo cleanup, because back in the day, this is crazy. Like this is back in the early 90s. They were still coating grains with mercuric oxide, and they were still putting mercuric oxide into red tattoos back then. And mercury is like, between lead and mercury, they're like and uranium, they're like the top 3 most toxic things for your body.
Or in general.
And just nasty. You don't get any worse than that. So I cleaned up that mercuric oxide, digging all this stuff up, and then shortly after that, the toxic bucket filled up to the point where I just dysfunctional, just waves of anxiety. I was big into my church back then. I had all these young men coming over. Don't take that the wrong way. Have to throw that out there to make everybody laugh. It gets kind of boring, you know.
The church gets a bad rap.
Yeah, the church gets a bad rap, but well,
or do they?
The religiosity is a whole nother topic.
That's another topic.
It's a different episode.
Yeah, it's a good episode that needs this table for sure. So, I couldn't function essentially. Like everything overwhelmed me. Sound sensitivity. These are neurological symptoms, but no one it wasn't cool because you can't look this up on Google. You couldn't research the papers. Like all the stuff that I was researching when I was sick, I'm like, maybe it's arsenic poisoning, maybe it's Lyme, but I had to get like microfiche and call my college to like print this stuff off and pay 10 cents a page for the copy, just trying to figure this out. Like, why am I sick? Right. And it actually broke religiosity off me. I stopped judging people and all that, because when you're sick, you realize, holy shit, like I'm treating everyone like shit because my hormones, I didn't know it was my hormones at the time, because you just think that
you're just like, I feel like shit.
Yeah, I just feel like shit. So, but I was like, I knew you want to be nice, but you can't.
Yeah.
Right. You want to be kind, but you can't. You want to help people, but you can't. right? And then I think that's what drove it when I realized, and then I did find out it was heavy metals, and I knew in my gut that, like you said, it's like, even though everybody, every medical doctor, physiatrist, neurologist are like, it's not that. I'd show them my toxic heavy metal urine challenge test. They're like, that lab's whack, you know?
Hogwash.
Really?
And now this shit is
Everywhere.
everywhere and published and at big research universities and hospitals. We're doing fecal microbiome transplants now. Like the microbiome, you know, research is through the roof because we're destroying it with toxins,
Yeah.
right? Environmental toxins, glyphosate, like all this stuff. So that's the long short of my story. And then the symptoms were obviously sleeplessness, weight gain. The funny thing is I got so sick in Montana, sold everything, sold my house as I was growing home. And to get a little bit spiritual, my pastor, who I had chronic inflammation at the time, I go over to his house every night and just bitch and complain. I was so freaking sick. I mean, you're getting the real Warren. Like he'd give me a bag of peas to put on my neck. I was just so inflamed, so sick. And toxins, I just read a study how they cause inflammation really at the cellular level, like some of the biological process. This is nuts. And they would just take care of me. And then he said, his words have never left me. He says, Warren, you're not running from something, you're going to something. And I think, you know, when you're that sick, those kind, thoughtful, heartfelt, powerful words that someone speaks into your life or this is the seed of where non-toxic dad is today. Because it hurt so deeply. I was so sick. I wanted to take my life. Like, how in the F at 25 years old, I can't function as a human. I have no chance of getting married. I have no chance of a relationship. I can't sleep. You know, it was just this horrific thing. So I packed everything up, sold my house as I was driving home. The realtor, I bought the house for 120, subdivided the lot. Even when I had moments of clarity, I'm like trying to like make good financial decisions, the entrepreneur in me, right? Subdivided the lot, put 150K in the bank. I'm going home to live in my parents' basement, freaking moldy basement. So the symptoms went from like this to like this. I'm thinking I'm going home. Just get rid of the stress, honey. Come home. You know, you'll be healthy. Just let us take care of you.
Back to Pittsburgh to the basement.
Back to the Pittsburgh basement.
So
Rain.
funny.
Yeah.
That's my earliest memory is the smell of a basement in
Yeah.
Pittsburgh. My grandparents' basement is the earliest memory I have is the smell of a Pittsburgh basement.
I don't
It's
even
just
know
like-
what that smells like.
It's damp and musty and
Yeah.
it smells like mold, but you kind of like it. But
Yeah.
it kind of
It's endearing.
home. It is endearing because people don't know from out west because this is a thing from back east,
don't
but
have
everybody had a basement
Yeah.
and that usually was like an entertainment room.
Yeah, it's where you
Some
hung
people
out.
used it as a washroom, but most of the time, like
Everybody hung out there.
you would have pinball machines or ping pong tables or like a TV and everything was set up with a couch
Or a keg.
or a cake party.
Yeah.
Exactly. It was the hangout section because it was safe and boxed in and
Had
uh,
fluffy carpet.
yeah, that was the thing, you know?
You'd watch a Rocky movie and get the gloves out and beat the living shit out
We
of
don't know
each other.
anything about that, but that was like where families gathered.
Yeah,
You know,
about that.
Christmas, we were in my grandparents' basement hanging out, all the kids, while the adults were upstairs doing their thing or whatever else. That's what we did.
Yeah, get downstairs.
Yeah.
Get downstairs.
With that Pittsburgh accent that doesn't exist anymore.
What are yins doing?
What are yins doing? Yeah.
Get downstairs. Get outside. Ride your bike. Right?
Yep. Go ahead.
I don't
You make it back home.
Yeah, I make it back home, get sicker.
Get sicker.
Yeah, I get more inflamed, more weight gain, 210 pounds. Oh, man.
What's the turning point?
That a
Rock
friend of
bottom?
mine. Now, way rock bottom,
Yeah.
right? And this is the thing, like pain creates change, like for all of us, right? Relationships, like when we're going through things, it accelerates learning. And so when you're in a painful situation, don't give up because this is opportunity for your greatest learning. Use that pain to hopefully and get around good people that speak into your life and encourage you along the way. Because I had the pain, then I had people speaking life into me. You're going to be okay. You're going to get through this. God has a plan for you, whether you believe in God or the universe or not. Those are powerful words to share with people. And so you have the pain, you have people giving you energy when you don't have energy to keep digging, to keep fighting along. And I'm an All-American athlete too, javelin thrower. And so I had that, Pennsylvania drive to to be the best baseball player, played baseball, like football. You just push through the pain. So some of that is trained, but some of it is just the way life works to learn. And so had a friend tell me, who later I went into business with, Dr. Dan says, you're heavy metal poison, because he had 2 mercury amalgam fillings taken out improperly. And then, you know, he got sick. He's like, those are the symptoms, the eyelid twitching, abnormal shyness, like all these weird effing symptoms. Like nobody has these symptoms. You can't find them anywhere. There wasn't Google, but just funny to think, like since we've been back in PA, to think that this stuff didn't exist. Only place that had gluten-free crackers, I know this is off, but we're in California, so it popped into my head, was Mary, like not Mary's Gone. There's a cracker company from some lady making crackers out of your house that we had to like order because there was no gluten-free anything.
Yeah.
You know, when you're sick, gluten bothers you, right? Anyway, off on a gluten-free tangent, but there wasn't any of this information. Once I found that, because of my background, because of heavy metals, I'm like, yeah, I knew that all along. I just needed someone to tell me, right? And I think that's an important thing when someone's sick and going through stuff. It's really cool to be like, hey man, you know, I've been there. And so if you've been through emotional challenges, it just having someone say, you know what, you're going to be okay. I've been there. And that's what this person did for me. And it gave me the energy and connected the dot, because I knew in my gut. And then someone says, this is it. This is what's wrong with you. You're like, I freaking knew it.
It's epiphany,
right?
moment.
Yeah.
And the light bulb goes off and you say, I figured it out.
And then all the data in this AI brain, which is more powerful than AI. Come on, guys. AI, whatever. This is AI. This is the gift. Man, this thing is for real.
Can't
right?
you be clear enough to really harness what it has? You know what I mean?
It's genius.
That's what AI is modeled after.
Yeah.
Realistically, right?
Yeah, there's no distractions, no social media, no bullshit.
Yeah, just
This thing's powerful.
yeah.
So then all that information, all my training, all the people that spoke into my life over the years, like, holy shit, this is real. Connected all the dots in your brain, all the synapses connect. I'm like, this is bullshit. I was out cleaning hazardous waste, trying to clean up the environment, when maybe someone riding their motorcycle on this tailings pile of dead material, which hemp could grow on, by the way. We'll talk about that. And I'm wasting my time and energy here, and we're putting people in homes that are more toxic, supposing getting more VOCs, volatile organic compound exposure, than when they're filling up their gasoline or digging up a petroleum spill or cleaning up an abandoned mine site. The heavy metal exposure in our everywhere, right? In our food,
Everything.
and no one's talking about it. I'm like, this is BS.
Construction.
Well, fucking Alan was telling me about radon gases inside of your house the other day, and I was
Such
like,
nasty.
what the fuck is that? And he broke it down for me, and he's
So
like
dangerous.
crazy. He's now creating positive pressure to basically push everything back out of the house. I'm like, where did you learn that?
All of these things off gas, all of these materials, they all come from mines in different places. You don't know what they've been exposed to. It could be a marble slab in your kitchen,
Yes.
or the bullshit wood that they made your cabinets out of, or whatever your
Or the finish.
refrigerator. It's an infinity effort of just a whole bunch of shit that is non-natural that has now become a business, you know?
Tell us like it is, because that's
Yeah.
exactly what it is, man.
It really is.
I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask you. How do most people test if they have high levels of heavy metal in their body?
Symptoms is a great one. Like if you have those weird abnormal shyness, is like a great mercury symptom. Just if you have massive fatigue for no reason at a young age, because it just really shuts down your cells and your mitochondria. But the physical test, there's some urine purifin tests out there that are okay, but a heavy metal challenge, let's get into that. But a heavy metal challenge is going to challenge out some of the heavy metals in your body, right? So you're like, yes, I'm full of them. But guess what, everybody? You're all full of them anyway. You don't even need the challenge.
Yep.
But it's a great test for motivation to be like,
drink that, whatever it was, or take those 2 pills, and then
no, I'm saying it wrong, DMSA.
Yep, and then urine analysis over like 8 hours or something.
8-hour urine challenge.
And then you just take a sample off of that.
Yep. So you clear your first morning urination, and then you start collecting.
Yep.
And so and you make sure you don't eat fish and all that stuff. I've done so many of them. Actually, the first one I did, here's how, like, I didn't believe, right? I wasn't out of the matrix yet. I still thought there's no way the government could do that. Like, I'm like, no, like they wouldn't they wouldn't allow that in your mouth, right? We'll get canceled for talking about the truth, right? Truth hurts.
That's right.
It does.
So we took I took a split sample, sent it to the analytical lab in Idaho, and I'm like, I don't believe these efforts. Like, there's no way. I mean, this is after I discovered, like, this is heavy metals, and I'm taking the test. I didn't believe the lab because I was still plugged in, believing the medical system actually cared about me.
Yeah.
And that was their job, because they are beautiful people. They
so hard
they
to
care. The
get
nurses,
people
they're so
wrap
nice.
their head around that.
Yeah, it's
They
so
still
hard.
can't understand that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I've had I won't get off on that topic, but so I split test the sample, send it to Idaho to an analytical laboratory, and be like, they're just gonna give me false results. And of course, I'm like, shit. It confirmed my, I was still processing and not wanting to believe, right? I really don't. Do I really want to take the just take the blue pill or the purple pill from like Matrix, right? Do I really believe? Do I really want to step off this cliff? And so I'm still holding back because this is real. This is gonna F with my life. It's like a medical doctor that realizes maybe natural things can reverse diabetes. Maybe natural things can help with cancer or any of these larger topics. But once they step off that ledge, it's like your whole paradigm of what you believed is now gone.
Yeah.
Right? The things that you work so hard for, why you sacrifice so much in school, it's so hard. Same thing in different faiths, right? It's like you believe this is your family, but if you leave, you're not going to go to heaven, and like this whole thing. And if you lose that, you lose everything. So taking that step, even for me, and it can be harder for others, taking that step away from normal life was hard, and I was still questioning it. So the test was like, yeah, yes, this is the real deal. I need to figure this out. And then I talked to the lab. I'll go ahead.
Well, you found out.
Yes,
You're full of stuff.
lots of stuff.
How do you start pushing it all out?
Well, back then I did a lot of you want to reduce inflammation.
What stuff were you full with? What
Well,
stuff was what was
lead
the
and mercury mainly.
mainly?
Yeah, because those are the two big ones, right? There's no safe levels of lead or mercury.
And was this because of your job and what you were doing up there in the mines, or was it your lifestyle?
It was cumulative
Cumu-
effect. Yeah.
yeah.
So I just read a study too. Like when my mom was we're from the lead generation, and we're in
Yeah.
leady Pittsburgh, right?
Yeah, Pittsburgh, obviously. I mean, it almost helps that you're from there because
I have an excuse.
these people, no, these people all worked in the mines. You have generations of working in steel
There you
mills
go. There you go.
and around water that was polluted from steel mill production.
Way worse.
And these people
Yeah.
know that, like,
Lead.
cancer rates, all of these things are super accelerated in these communities. And it was kind of one of the first places that people figured out, the industrial age fucked us up, like big time bad. And I mean, Pittsburgh's just now coming out of it 40 years later, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just starting to get cleaned up. So, I mean, I guess people there can accept the fact that, we're getting exposed to shit on a regular basis that is extremely damaging to our biochemistry.
Yeah. There's no arguing. There's no arguing that heavy metals, especially lead and mercury, are not effing you up. Like the literature is so stinking clear on that. But getting back to the exposures, my mom had 14 amalgam fillings. FASA, highest level research out there, shows that the number of amalgam fillings in mom are going to be directly proportional to the amount of mercury in my brain and my organs, all of that. Mom had
Baby.
14
Wow.
to the baby. And they did it on one, I don't know if it was a chimpanzee, but a monkey, right? And they even said in the study to do that on more animals was inhumane.
Yeah.
Because it destroys that thing. So it's inhumane to do it on a monkey, which I think it is, because I think monkeys are
100%.
awesome.
They're awesome.
Like they're part of
It's
this planet to be
inhumane.
loved, but us too, right? And it's inhumane to put a mercury amalgam filling in somebody. But there's that direct correlation.
For a cavity that could probably be healed naturally.
Cavities can be healed naturally.
Yeah.
And that's woo woo, but now it's taking
No,
off
now
again.
it's knowledge.
I mean, your body can heal itself. It doesn't need an outside invention. I'm
can
come
regrow
on.
teeth and do all types of shit. No kidding, huh?
Can regrow fingertips.
Yeah.
Some people.
Interesting. Yeah, it's a shame because I mean we all grew up. They got 4 cavities. Let's fill them with one of the most poisonous substances on Earth. Right, is what they're filling these things with. They're drilling it out and then filling a rotting hole basically with,
And they say it's safe.
and they say it's safe.
And they have everybody using fluoride toothpaste.
I mean, yeah, the levels
Come
of it keep going.
I mean,
down.
this is
the rabbit hole is endless.
the truth really does hurt, and it's hard to hear when it's like, I'm sorry guys, the matrix is real and we're in it. It's marketing, it's human nature, and it's okay to step out of it. It really is. It's hard at first, but it feels so good to be in control of your own destiny and to take control of your life and take that. It's called self-responsibility too, to take that on and not look for outside people to help you, but knowing within you, you have everything it takes to have an amazing life. And yes, you can garden, right? Even though they're saying that hurts the carbon footprint, but which is blowing my mind.
Which is like counter intuitive
Yeah.
of what that actually is, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I don't want
Well,
to
they're
go. I don't
telling
want to
you
go
that-
too conspiracy.
They're
But
telling you to get rid of your grass, even though grass is one of the biggest oxygen producers on the planet, right? But get rid of your grass and put rocks in your front yard, and then cover it with fake grass so that it looks cool.
And you get
But the fake
microplastics
grass is
all
made out
over.
of old tires that they're repurposing that are filled with all types of poisonous chemicals.
Yeah.
They're saying the people that are laying this turf are just filled with cancers, like guys spraying Roundup, because they're out there laying turf that is just poison, basically.
It is
Sitting there
causing cancer and soccer players.
breathing it in.
All the kids that are playing sports on it.
Yeah. And they're
Yeah.
banning it in other countries. Like
Oh,
this
yeah.
is all real. But so this toxin thing is real.
Yeah,
Like
it's real.
it ages you, it destroys your life, it robs your energy, it takes over your hormones, it messes with your neurochemistry, it causes neuroinflammation. Like this is clear cut shit. And getting back to the story, lead is passed from mom because it stores when you get a lead exposure, goes around, does its damage, stores 90% of it in your bones. You get pregnant, that stuff gets released, gets into the baby proportionately, breast milk into the baby. So your kids are getting loaded up. It's generational. I think it takes 5 generations. If that person never got another lead exposure, it would eventually, burn out. But we're getting more and more lead exposures. It's becoming a bigger and bigger deal. And we're passing it on to our children, causing epigenetic SNPs to go off. I think it's called, there's a name for it in genomics, about how toxins get passed on and affect the genetics and create bad cells, right? So this stuff is passing on. It's effing up our country. It's causing infertility. It's causing all these big issues. And we're out here screaming politics, all this stuff when the answer is right in front of us. And Mother Nature can heal. Our bodies can heal. They are amazing organisms. Like we're freaking amazing. The earth is amazing. You can't F with it for too long. Eventually, it's going to sprout disease. And we're at that tipping point right now.
Yeah, if you take a trip up north and you drive up into the Redwoods or into, Trinity and to Humboldt County, and you see Shasta or any of these beautiful state parks, and you see that, this untouched land is that, and nature does its thing when we don't fuck with it.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's obvious that things thrive where we're not. And that anywhere we congregate, things get worse.
Yeah, it's funny how we have undone through industrialism, through gain, all the great synergy between humanity and nature. Like the older I get, maybe it's I'm turning 50, but it's like, man, I just want to, if I could move off grid right now, I would, right? I don't think it's my calling to do that right now or anytime soon, but to integrate with nature, it's like the Native Americans had it right. I mean, they're so connected. And 10 years ago, I would have judged that. I would have called it woo-woo, right? Yeah. But now I'm like,
not only did they have it right, they knew we had it wrong.
Yeah.
And they told us.
Sad.
They told
us the truth.
They told us and their generations below them that we were poisoned, that we literally were sick in the head from all of this stuff, and that we were wrong,
And we're missing out on
possession
the best
almost.
stuff of life.
Yeah.
And now we're biohacking, speaking at conferences together, trying to get back. But if we get back to nature, a lot of this stuff heals.
Walking barefoot.
Walking barefoot's a great one. Connected to the earth.
Yeah.
So what are some simple ways that you started detoxing back then before you had all this data that we have today?
Yeah, I mean, I did some medical interventions, like they were safe medical interventions, but I always call it dicaptorosuccinic acid, but it's pronounced a little bit differently. It's DMSA and DMPS. One's they're double crab claw thiol group. They have 2 HS groups, 2 negative charges pharmacists over here that love heavy metals, and the angle is perfect for lead. It's World War II lead. People get lead poisoned from shrapnel and all that stuff, so they use that to help clean up people, because lead, everyone always knows lead was toxic. Like, this isn't a new one. And so I took a lot of that, cleaned up my diet, all organic, of course, going to traveling to grass-fed farms, because you couldn't get it at Whole Foods, there was a Whole Foods eventually that kind of got in town, but that's when Whole Foods just got started. And so there wasn't Natural Grocer, there wasn't Sprouts, and there wasn't all these places to find good, healthy meat. So you just find a farmer that wasn't certified organic grass fed, but he took care of his cows, he didn't spray, and then we just get clean meat, clean dairy, you know, meet people in alleys, you know, in parking lots just to get clean food, because you knew from all the work that some of the greats have done that you needed to eat clean. So you need to remove the sources of toxicity coming in your life, right? And identify them. That's my 5 pillars of non-toxic living. Just identify these areas of toxicity, the exposures, and then you just start replacing stuff. Toxic ingestion. What am I ingesting, right? Toxic inhalation. What am I inhaling? My house is full of VOCs. I move into a house thinking, ripped out all the carpet, never been painted for 4 years, thought it was totally off gas because I wanted to get rid of mold, and I didn't realize how bad VOCs were. But the air, because in Pennsylvania, I don't know why they do this, but the return vents from the HVAC system are just put in the walls. So there's insulation here, and then there's an empty cavity with 2 2x4s, and then insulation back that's full of formaldehyde VOCs. So it's creating negative air, sucking that in. Attic, in this condo, all like the things were freaking gapping because they're just like slapping up these condos, and that's all I could afford. Like $120,000 condo, 700 square feet. You know, all the piping was spread open, you know, not sealed or wrapped, and so just sucking in all this toxic air, plus your neighbor's fragrance, you know, plus your neighbor's dryer sheet. So I just couldn't sleep, and like the anxiety was like, what's going on? I'm like, I ripped out the carpet. I'm sleeping on gypcrete and a mattress on the floor. I have, you know, a wooden, you know, chair and a wooden table from, you know, Walmart, a fold out TV tray, which we ate off as kids in Pittsburgh. We love TV trays. They were great.
Yeah.
All these
I think I had one.
Yeah. So you don't have to be from Pittsburgh to have a TV tray. So then I knew that VOC, so that your toxic inhalation side I got, and then toxic absorption, what you're putting on my skin, right? So I'm no longer putting on Degree deodorant, which worked great back in the day. Loved that stuff, especially, you know,
the spray,
blasting it, you know, anaphylactic shock. And then toxic energy, which is EMF, right? So I knew that, but I didn't realize, like, there's really good studies on that. So I was being careful with my cell phone and stuff like that, so that more of the sources. And then toxic mindset, which was really important for healing. Like one of the most important things, like after detoxing for several years, I still had this limbic system connection to fragrances. It would, even though it wasn't a big amount to give me brain fog, I'd be like, I smell it, I'm sick. And then automatically that mindset and belief would trigger the same hormone pathways. And I'd be like, I couldn't talk to you right now. I couldn't look you in the eye. I'd be like, you know, just half dead, you know. So changing your mindset about toxicity was important as well. So working in all 5 of those categories, slowly but surely, identifying the toxins, finding ways to avoid them in those categories. And the funny thing is about these toxic categories is that's what I did as a profession. You look at the ingestion risk, the inhalation risk, the absorption risk. So if you get an exposure, like even to a virus or to any chemical, you have to have a mask on, because that shit goes right into your brain, right through your eye gate. And so, you know, just toxins, finding those categories and cleaning them up over time. And I have fun doing it now.
What about someone like me that plays with firearms for a living?
Well, you're strong enough to handle it, but there's a huge lead exposure when it comes to firearms. There's a lot, and there's some other toxins too, but lead would be the main
number one.
Yeah, it'd be number one. So strategies, you know, when you're outdoor firearm, right, try to shoot outdoors, and, you know, the wind's blowing this way, you know, you can't shoot people, but like if you could control that exposure, because if there's wind blowing this way and you're doing outdoor range, and there's tons of ranges that are outside.
I don't do indoor anymore.
Yeah. So there you go. Yeah. Plus it hurts your ears, even when you have it on. The energy and the vibration. I get sick when I get out of there just from the
yeah, and they have it like sealed in where you just feel everything.
Yeah, it's nuts. So if you're outside, the solution to pollution is dilution, right? I mean, sad but true. But in this case, it's a
dilute it down a little bit.
Dilute it down. But lead is a big deal. So if you're shooting a lot and you're wondering why you know have early cardiovascular problems, you're wondering why you're not feeling well and you have no energy, and you're just like, well, take a break from the source, the inhalation, toxic inhalation, and you know your body can start getting this stuff out. It's going to put it in its bones, fairly safe there, right? You can use EDTA to get it out, especially if you're a mom. I highly recommend.
What is EDTA?
EDTA is just another chelator. I don't know what it stands for.
They don't really use that much in the States, but in Mexico, where I do my chelation, they use that a lot.
Yeah,
It's a compound that you can take, or
yeah, it's another binder, another
They inject it over there, slow drip it,
yeah.
oh really?
and you can really smell it in your urine after. Like,
What about
everything
these like I see people with these sticky things on their feet and talking about pulling metals out of the system that way on the internet. And is this all like snake oil or?
I mean, I personally don't think it's a great path to take.
Yeah.
I think there's better paths to take, like infrared sauna.
Sweating it out is probably one of the better ways.
Yeah, I would say, far infrared, near infrared, sweating it out. I think that's one of the best things when you're first really sick. And there's some folks that are watching that are really sick, right? And it's like, what is my first step? If they took DMSA or tried a chelator, I mean, there's other, and the detox space is very dirty. Like the products that you're selling, like I measure them because I won't want to get into that, but I've measured a lot of detox products and they're full of lead. I'm like, and for me, like that hurts. Like people are trusting you because they're sick. They found the answer and you're giving them products that have the same stuff in it that they're trying to get out. How can you sleep at night?
Yeah.
I think they just don't know. I don't think they had an analytical.
They don't know.
I'm an analytical chemist, so I'm like, of course it could be in there.
And then if it gets to a level where they do know, I think it's too far gone that
We're making too much money.
that it's beyond
Too much
them
risk.
to do anything about it, right?
Yeah, it's human nature.
It's human nature,
How
yeah.
do you feel about ozone therapy and that one where they like filter your blood and pump in ozone at the same time? So going
That has science. It works.
Okay.
Like I don't know the science behind that, but I have medical doctor friends that do it. I've had it done. I had it done on my wife when she had her cavitations out. Just wanted to clean her blood because we measured what's in there. Like it's nasty. The microorganisms, the bacteria, the viruses.
Yeah. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about root canals and fillings and dental work being the precursor to what we're finding out is all types of bad gut health that leads to everywhere else in the body.
Yeah, I can talk about it on a surface level. Like I'm not like
No, of course.
a dentist, but yes, we trained natural health practitioners on this very thing because disease starts in the mouth.
Yeah.
So root canals, a lot of dentists will say that it's, no way. Their root canals are safe. Then the other side of that says no root canal is safe. And these dentists aren't doing it to make money. These most natural dentists, they do charge a lot, but so do dentists who, have
Dentists live in
practices.
pretty nice houses.
Yeah, so that they all, right? So you can't like
There's a
yell
lot
at
of
them.
money in dentistry.
So at least they're doing it from an ethical way. Like root canals are not safe in my opinion. I think there's
That's what I hear.
It's a level of toxicity that it's like you're trying to get rid of exposure. So this is toxic. This would be like an endotoxin at this point. So maybe I got to add a sixth category: toxic and
But what I
endogenous.
hear is
toxins.
that there's something decaying matter in your mouth,
yeah,
and you're trying to clean it all out and kill the nerve, and then they just put a cap over it, which obviously is not a cap, right? There's no way that saliva is not going to pull that shit from under it. And
Remember, Shervine said you should do a cone scan to really see what's under everything.
yeah, I mean, he took all of his stuff
Out.
because
And did the cone scan.
extraction to make sure that everything was gone.
Like even from removing the wisdom teeth, there was still
yeah.
a cavity.
I had that from wisdom teeth, and so I had to have my cavitations fixed.
Yeah.
And I felt way better afterwards. Not
Really?
everybody did. And it was funny when my dentist went in. He's like, "You saw it on the cone beam, but then I'm like, when you drilled on it, and I was up for the whole thing, but very happy. And he said it was like a thin layer of bone. There was no bone there. It's like, and it just popped, and then it was just dead stuff.
What do they do?
And then they go in and they just dig it out, clean it out, dig out the bone. And there's different techniques now, but then they inject ozone to kind of clean it, and they do a bunch of other stuff to stitch it back up so the bone can heal naturally, so it's a solid bone and not this
Crater.
this crater of tissue that's not good for you, where all these, I mean, Lyme disease can hide in there, all kinds of viruses, and they even find heavy metals and weird stuff in there. So
You got
pretty nasty.
you got me running my tongue on the back of my wisdom teeth removal and stuff, right?
But like if you're rubbing, do you ever rub your tongue? It's like something's, your gut level.
All of
once
that
again.
shit feels weird, bro.
Yeah, you're just like, wait a minute, like
Something's off.
something's off. Like it's like, I get sore every once in a while. I mean, I got jaw pain and inflammation, and you just blow it off. But in your gut, something's freaking wrong, all right? And we just blow it off because we're tough guys from Pennsylvania. We go into the coal mines, we do our thing. We're tiki torch whites, just like Dave Chappelle says, and we love our lives, and we work hard, and we go home, we drink our beer, we go to Primanti Brothers, and it's a great life, right?
Yeah.
Go fishing with our boys on the river, the Allegheny. We have a great time. That was my life. I loved it.
Yeah.
That's some of the best, pyramid of cans in a pale moonlight, shooting, catfishing. Like it's real country living. Truck, 6-pack on the side of you, like
Yeah.
blown hick,
Yeah.
California, you guys don't know. Like this
No.
is why
Most people don't associate Pennsylvania with that, but Pennsylvania
don't
and
know.
Ohio is
Yeah.
super country when you get out west.
Yeah.
Once you leave Philly, it's nothing but farmland, and it gets real.
what else are we going to do?
Yeah, all the way to Chicago, it's like that pretty much. It just keeps going. Midwest, it's the beginning of the Midwest, right?
Yeah.
So we know that people are super toxic at this point.
Yeah, all of us.
What foods can people stay away from? Like, can we give like a list of like
Simple things people
just
can do.
Yeah.
things in the home and foods that people are ingesting that are, known have a high level of toxicity, and that they can try to back off from maybe and
Like
help
even something as
themselves out.
simple as shampoo, conditioner, and body wash.
Yeah, all that stuff. It's like if you can't read it, don't put it on your body, because whatever you put on your skin is like ingestion. So the absorption, right? One of the pillars, ingestion, it's the same.
Yeah.
Right. It goes right in. Transdermal drugs, like we get it. Like if there's toxins in this room right now and we didn't eat it and it's super toxic, your skin absorbs it and you still die.
100%.
Right. It goes through your eyes, it still dies. So, and I like to say if you wouldn't eat it, don't put it on your skin.
Yeah.
Right. And there's so many products, especially out of California, very progressive, right? A lot of natural health companies. This is the,
Makeup-
this is where it all
makeup
comes.
for all the women?
all of it.
Yeah,
So there's no excuse today, and the price points have really dropped.
Oh,
They're
drastically.
very sustainable, heartfelt, mom, pop. They get bought out. Things can change, but as they scale and grow their business and sell to a larger, then Procter and Gamble gets it and rolls it up, into their. They know that's why they're buying this stuff up, because the future is what we're doing. So it's not today specifically. Now in California, I have organic coffee at my hotel. In Pennsylvania, no
You
way.
got Folgers.
We got Cisco delivering that shit, right? And it's just not happening.
You can already tell by the powdered creamer, and things haven't progressed everywhere.
We're playing bingo, man. We're playing bingo, eating hot dogs, Coke, and little dairy creamers. Like,
Yeah.
and it's good times. Bingo with grandma, bowling with grandma. Like,
Yeah.
this is good. So if you can't read the ingredients, don't eat it, right? If you're not willing to eat it, or definitely put it on your kids. So if you look at the back of like chapstick and it says call emergency control if ingested, your baby's going to eat that shit.
Yeah.
Right. Your baby's going to eat chapstick.
Not
Like,
only that, but it's on your lips and you're licking it. So
Yeah.
everybody's
You're
eating
fucking-
it just by
everybody's
using
eating
it.
it.
Yeah, so it's toxins, but
Yeah.
it feels good, and they're putting chemicals, and it's like it has to be natural stuff. That's easy, like honey, and like your depending on your age, great grandma or grandma used to use. Get back to your roots. Tallow, beeswax,
Yeah.
all of these natural things that work way better, that work in synergy with your body, because whether you believe in evolution or not, we are part of this planet. And these things provide for us, getting back to the Native Americans using everything for the animal.
Yeah.
Right. And it works with your body in synergy. These toxins do not belong in your body. They have no value to your spirit, to your emotional well-being, to your hormonal well-being, none of it. And so you just got to avoid that stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So in foods, that's why we do law of biological concentration. So we're kind of screwed with fish. Bigger fish, eat the smaller fish, lead builds up, right? All these mercury, they build up, and so larger fishes, don't eat them a lot. Cacao tree, dark chocolate is a high source of cadmium and lead exposure, and we're just downing it because the natural health world says it's so healthy, the polyphenols, all this stuff, but it's a big exposure route to lead and cadmium. Like, I said it right, because sometimes my Pennsylvania accent, I'm like, say cadmium wrong. Self-check, self-regulation. So this plant bioaccumulates heavy metal like hemp, and let's get there.
Yeah.
Right? These are sinks for heavy metals. Certain plants, back from my master's days, that suck and soak up and absorb heavy metals because their nature is able to do that. Lots of plants do it. Some plants just die on this stuff, but these other plants can be grown on it, right? Just how they evolved with volcanic eruptions and all this stuff.
Hemp, they planted in Chernobyl because it actually pulls radiation and heavy metal out of the ground. That's what it does. It literally remediates the earth.
It's called a
Probably why it was growing wild everywhere by itself. I mean, it was spreading where it was needed.
Once it
I'm sure.
remediates, what do you do with it?
Huh?
Once it remediates the earth.
Well, it's a fast-growing plant. It gets chopped down and turned into waste, and it's gone. It
Yeah,
just-
what they do is what they do, and they did this. So
Yeah.
they traps in the roots in the plant. So they use the plant to remediate the soil, pull it out, and then they put it in a hazardous waste site where it has the big, thick lining, so they can control the leachate, clean it up.
Gotcha.
So they put it in a safe place, high up, so it doesn't get a lot of rain. Not where we lived in Pennsylvania, where you lived at the bottom of the hill, where the rain's coming through the soil. So you cover it so water doesn't go through it. You do all these things to keep it safe.
Gotcha.
Lock it up, and give it to another generation. I'm just kidding.
pretty much.
It's called push it down the line.
Kind of, sort of.
Yucca Mountain, right? Back in the day. So these different exposures. I'd like to talk about hemp a little bit more later, but that's a big one, right? There's a new study. Actually, we'll just talk about hemp. There's a new study. If you're doing that, if you're smoking cabbage, you have not just a long-term exposure, but if you're smoking and it has a lot of heavy metals, and a lot of these plants, it does. You can grow it clean or you can grow it dirty. If some people understand, some growers do, and if it's heavy metal laden hemp, and you're smoking that cabbage, it will give you elevated levels of cadmium and mercury, cadmium and lead, if you took a blood sample, right? And then it goes away, you're fine. No, it's stored in your tissues now, right? So you're doing that day by day. The study shows that there's significant higher levels of circulating toxins, blood levels of toxins, and cabbage smokers, right? And they don't know. And a lot of folks, need this stuff to survive, right? I mean, it's a powerful plant. It has so many healing properties through the roof,
But
right?
you got to know where you're getting it
You
from.
got to know where you're getting it. It's just like chocolate, all these healing properties. So you just got to do things in moderation. You got to know your source. West African chocolate can still have lead contamination, but the cadmium levels are a lot less because the ground isn't as toxic or polluted with cadmium there, because natural stuff. So yeah, what else?
Everyday household products.
Right.
You mentioned dryer sheets, which I've heard are one of the worst things.
Yeah,
right?
chemical fragrance is at the top of the list of
So terpenes.
So what do you use in your dryer?
wool dryer balls.
With like essential oils?
I mean, I don't even do a ton of essential oils because
Just wool dryer balls.
just wool dryer balls. I mean, you
it
put a little,
it softens and it keeps the static away, huh?
yeah, and then you put a little vinegar in your wash too. That'll knock it down. Some people have a huge aversion to vinegar, but it's like a super cleaner. right?
Yeah.
So we drop that in, so we never have any problems.
Is that what you use for detergent?
No, we'd use natural detergent.
Like safer soap type stuff?
Yeah, just here's the funny one: fragrance and unscented, fragrance free and unscented. Unscented usually has a chemical just to mask the
Mask
scent,
the smell, yeah.
and it's chemical on top of chemical, so
Yeah.
just as bad. You just don't smell it. But
Fragrance free is the
yeah.
one.
So there's plant-based surfactants that are safe. We use a little bit of that, a little bit of vinegar. We use some like OxyClean without the fragrance, but just an oxidizer to help.
Baking soda, basically.
Yeah, baking soda. We
Yeah.
use that as well. So enzymes as well. Like my wife, we have everything in glass. Like it's super fun. Just
Yeah.
get a little crunchy, a little bougie crunchy, just for California. Be bougie crunchy.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't need barefoot in the woods and make your own clothes, but you can be like cool crunchy.
So what do you clean?
Wear some organic underwear, organic shirt.
Yeah. There is a difference and let's talk about fabric for a minute. So organic cotton and organic natural materials like linen and wool and these things that are, they resonate at a different level and
You got
our body.
do all this stuff. Like
I'm just a
oh
He
my
just
gosh,
nerds
like
out.
you're even saying resonate, so you know about the frequency of
Yeah, the
these fabrics
frequency
and
of
how
the
it changes
fabric.
your
I know that if you mix them, they don't respond the same way.
Yeah.
It's all biblical too, which is really interesting, is that it literally says this is what we should be wearing. And you can test it now and find out that lo and behold, this is fucking true.
It is
Wait,
true.
funny you guys mentioned that. When I was in the Middle East, like the clothing they
Basically,
sell is all organic.
Of course, it's all linen and wool based
Yeah.
because you're in Sharia law, bro. They understand. They're still
There's
operating
so much
off
to
of
learn.
The
much to learn
basics.
from
So
the ancient.
pretty much everything you wear on a daily basis is poison.
Fuck yeah, and all I wear is Lululemon.
Exactly.
There's lawsuits on them, those bastards.
Yeah.
I mean,
so what it is it's
Got-
it's an
they're not-
inorganic
they can't do
compound. It's nylon. It's these polyesters.
Nothing good for
all
them.
of these synthetics that are just like poisonous. They They resonate at a low vibrational frequency, and it just, we should be wearing organic grown fibers. If it didn't come off the back of an animal or it didn't come out of the ground, it's probably bad news.
Great.
Probably.
We're gonna die.
Yeah.
So you're wrapping yourself in plastic. So here's a neat study.
You're wrapping yourself in plastic. That's what
Surround
you're
it up.
So here's another 1990s
Yeah.
thing, so because we love the 90s. I still listen to 90s.
Me
I
too.
have, I
Yeah.
love it. What a great time. It was like the last great,
It was the last
Freedom.
great era, yeah.
yeah, get rid of the, anyway. So they did a study in the 90s for population control. That was the whole point of the study. It was hard to get the full, because when I get,
For population control?
yeah, that was,
or just,
they wanted to find a way for population control, like
Yeah.
for males in
Yeah.
particular, because they had things dialed in for women. And they're like, how can we control population growth? This was a concern, right? Right or wrong, I'm not going there. We're not getting conspiracy, but so they did this study. Let's try polyester slings on men. So little bikinis in polyester, 100% infertility because of the electrostatic,
Speedos.
yeah,
Yeah.
Speedos, and the electrostatic. And then what happened to Hanes cotton underwear? And all of a sudden, all these synthetic underwear.
Lycra and this.
So I wonder.
that,
I always wonder:
spandex, yeah.
is it coincidence, or did the industry go, "Hey, we got to get this stuff out there and slow population"?
And that's why men's infertility is through the roof.
One of the reasons. It is one of the reasons, and that's why there's companies out there. A lot of these underwear, like I will partner with companies eventually that are doing it right for the right reasons.
I can't wear the other shit. I like 100% cotton underwear.
Just hate it.
I have to have it. I can't wear like any of the like stretchy, like I think it's a texture thing or just the way it like sucks in and holds you, but it needs to be breathable.
Yeah, you got
Cotton stretches, so like
Gotta have
as you
room
wear
for
it
the
in,
voice.
it gets like, yeah, and it breathes as well, so
Yeah.
it takes in and
That's the other thing that they said in this study is
Yeah.
that because the polyester doesn't breathe, it, you know, we all know this, that increased temperature for infertility, so it does that. But they really think it's this electrostatic potential.
Really.
So then there's another study done on female and male dogs. Same thing. They used mixes of cotton, natural fibers, no infertility on the female dogs or the male dogs, put that polyester on them, the plastic underwear, 100% infertility in both.
Well, fuck.
So everybody's running around in yoga
Get
pants.
rid of, yeah, and then they're addicted to it because
Yeah.
the natural stuff doesn't suck it up and make it look good.
Yeah,
I get
exactly.
it. You know, I understand that's going to be hard. When you take the step off, you feel like, I'm going to just wind up like the crunchy person that's making all my own clothes, and you should live on a farm. If you want to get well and be healthy and live a long, powerful life, that would be the best way to do it. It's not feasible, but sometimes you got to sacrifice, you know, what the world thinks is super cool and what's in. And don't be like my daughter, the same challenge. She loves Lululemon. She just bought a Lululemon, you know, keychain for her. She loves it. That stuff's going bye-bye. But she just wants to, she still has one that fits her and she keeps wearing it. And I'm like, please, no.
I like it. It's supportive. It's a great fabric.
Yeah.
For, you know, a sporting use, or it feels comfortable for
Yeah,
you.
it's
Well,
That's why you like
I'll
it.
let my kids do it for sporting use. Like if she's playing tennis, you know, I'd love to have her be like set a standard, but I can't put my beliefs on my kids because that could not be.
Isn't it interesting that if you look at Americans and I was just in Italy, me and my wife, and you go back to Italy and you look at like,
Are you Italian?
yeah, I am Italian.
Me too, bro. I'm getting my
The
citizenship.
Pittsburgh Italian. Yeah.
I'll have it next 6 months.
Really? So you started the process?
Oh, yeah,
I was
yeah.
just reading about that.
Do it. I have the company. I'll
So
let you
who
know.
was, okay, thank you. Yeah. I won't get into
Italy
the
Mondo.
specifics.
It's a shameless
Yeah,
plug
yeah.
for Italy
Well,
Mondo. I don't get anything for it.
That's fine. No.
They're
If I can
amazing.
get my citizenship, that'd be great.
Yeah,
I'd
they
love to
need
retire.
us over there, and it's actually the best place, one of the most non-toxic places.
Yeah,
in
I'm
the
gonna
world.
go. I'll go get a farm in Tuscany and grow olives.
Dude, let's do it.
and,
Let's
create
create a compound over there.
I'm down.
I like it.
We'll bring you along, even though you're not from Pittsburgh.
I just want some pizza,
You'll get some pizza.
pasta.
Some ancient grain pizza.
But going back to the fashion thing is that they wear wool, like in the summer, and they wear like these natural fibers and cottons, and they're not a bunch of hot, sweaty messes.
I don't know, stinky.
No, they don't stink. Why? Because it's a natural fabric that's
Antimicrobial, yeah.
antimicrobial, right?
Yeah.
And
Who would have thought that nature would be good for your body? Like, who would have thought? Like,
They
we're
dress
crazy. Like, we're full of it.
they're out wearing
You know?
suits in the middle of the day in the summer.
Yeah.
I mean, they wear breathable materials, obviously, light wool and linen.
Dude,
And
when I was there, it was
nature.
125, and these dudes are wearing full suits or their
But
dress,
they're
but it all breathes.
They're not like us. They they're not off gassing a bunch of chemicals, constantly sweaty and all these things. They're just
And their homes breathe.
They
And
breathe.
don't, they
Everything's
build them
natural.
correctly. They have natural
They're
materials.
not sealed tight like ours.
Yeah, they're not using pressed, wood from Home Depot that's full of formaldehyde and chemicals. And there's no safe. I just went on this whole path because I'm getting some
There's
cabinets.
no safe building materials at this point.
There's way better, but MDF, which is the cheap way to do it, there's no clean glues yet. I looked, and I had to spend a lot more money because I didn't want to spend all that money. I'm like, are you kidding me? But to do it right, just took me a couple more years, right? I just saved up and got the good formaldehyde-free, VOC-free stuff. But to build something that's like that, it's expensive.
Oh yeah. And like you were saying earlier, concrete floors with no extra bullshit.
Yeah, nothing. This is real. This is the truth.
Ditch the yoga pants, people.
Ditch the yoga pants. It's
Polyester is going to be the.
Change the lotions, the soaps, the makeups.
Yeah, all of it.
Just think about the makeup in general. If this is something that
makeup is
evil, you know what I mean?
Dude, every time like Michelle puts on makeup, her nose starts running, and I'm like, because there's crap in it.
Well, just in general, then it inflames your skin. My oldest daughter's 21, and so obviously as you're young and your hormones are producing chemicals and you start to break out and have these things, but the products on top of products on top of products, and I'm like, you understand that this is business 101, right?
Yeah.
It's to sell an immediate fix that obviously is a long-term problem that keeps you coming back. I mean, there's no money in a cure for acne. I mean, they don't want to give you something that's just gonna fucking cure this shit and it's not gonna exist anymore. I mean, we'd be better off just taking it all off and just getting out in the sun and letting the skin breathe a little bit and stop putting stuff on it, right?
Yeah.
It tends to look better. I know that I don't wear much, but if I put on a sunscreen moisturizer or something that, I tend to break out, not the opposite. You know what I mean? They're telling you that it's better for me. Maybe a little oil, like a little natural oil, because my skin's dry.
Shea butter is good, really good, has a natural sunblock. But if you're in the sun enough and you build up to
the sun's supposed to be good for you, right?
It's energy, man.
We should be absorbing it.
Yeah, but
they're telling us to hide from it.
Hide from sun, like
from sun. Don't work out.
So you believe
in the soy, eat the bugs.
We believe in the Big Bang. We believe in evolution, right? This intricate. You watch the science on TV. And there's other theories out there besides the Big Bang. By the way, it's a theory.
Yep.
But we do evolve. We do it's nuts to see how nature changes and evolves and adapts. And how we have these synergies between plants and hummingbirds and the size of their beak. Like, this shit is nuts. And to think that we humans can't be in the sun and we need to run away from it is absolutely bonkers to me. Like how could you? Oh my gosh.
I don't even wear sunblock.
You shouldn't.
I don't either.
Sunblock is
only when I go to an equatorial region that I'm not used to, and I just use shea butter and then avoid back and forth. Wear a toxic polyester T-shirt. Just kidding. But I have.
Hide in the shade.
Yeah.
Everything was 50-50.
Yeah.
We're just in the 100 cotton. If you go back, and this is what all the vintage heads are searching for, they're searching for 50-50 polyester cotton. Why? Because it held its shape over 40 years. You know what I mean? Which is probably not a good thing. I mean, it's a fiber. Should it last 40 years washing it through a chemical machine?
Nope.
Probably not, right?
Polyester just is plastic. You can melt it down and turn it into a bottle.
Well, it'll melt to you if you catch on fire. Yeah. It's really not a good thing.
Dude, they say don't wear that shit under my race suit, otherwise it's going to be a bad day.
Oh no, it'll melt to your body.
But you literally put flame retardants on it. They're fine. You got to put them on your mattress, on your kids' pajamas. Mm-hmm. They don't cause cancer. Oh, wait a minute. They cause cancer.
Yeah.
Like, the biggest thing is don't wear a logo T-shirt underneath your race suit, because if you cook, you're going to have a new tattoo.
That's true.
That's a cheap way to get a tattoo.
I was like, oh, fuck that.
I might be onto something.
Like, this is why I wear the undergarments.
Yeah. I mean, the information is out there.
Yeah. Buy used cars. Don't buy a new car. It's so full of toxic chemicals. I'm going to buy a new safe minivan for my baby and put them in 1,000+ chemicals. It's going to off gas for the next 4 years.
Dude, that shit stinks so bad.
Including your little baby, cradle to grave. We look at toxins in the environmental industry, cradle to grave, right? Because we got to track that. Now, the same thing happens with a baby. That baby is collecting toxins, and it tracks along, and they just bioaccumulate, and it just ages you at the cellular level. You might be able to keep you alive with medical intervention, but your cellular metabolism, your cellular age, you're going to be full of a bunch of, that's this whole, what is your biological age? I'm 30 years old, but I have the biology based on telomere length and senescent cells that are accumulated in your body of an 80-year-old. Why is that? environmental toxins, period, event, and story. It is the penultimate of all aging. If we're speaking on aging, hopefully I get a chance to share that from stage.
Yep.
The number one thing
I'm sure you will.
causing aging is toxins. And we're doing all these outside interventions, all these biohacks to maybe make the appearance look better, but at the cellular level, you're full of a bag of dead, dying cells that can no longer regenerate. That's what a senescent cell is. Your cells should get affected. They're a bad cell. They get apoptosis. They die off. But
You're going to upset some people on that panel.
Well, let's as we wrap up, I wanted to ask you
Need
this
to be
one
careful.
question. Is there any supplements that people can take that are, anti-aging or help? I know there was a study about these people outside of, once again, outside of Chernobyl. They used studies on that were in the zone of exposure, but for some reason had a certain diet and a certain thing that they were taking. That one, they live over 100 years, and two, they had no cancer rates at all based off of their nuclear exposure.
what was it? Was it a mineral?
No, it's something, it was a root or something that they were just, it was naturally mixed into their diet, but it had to do with the local region in the area, and people have started to like extract it and play with it because this was all like Soviet era documentation, you know what I mean? So it's just coming out now. But on the topic, I will find out and we'll put it
I'd like to
in
know.
the
It'd be
comments
cool.
too as well. But is there anything that you know of that is that helps the process and that people should be, effectively adding into their daily routine?
Yeah, so I'll share some things, but I'll put it with a note of caution, right? Because a lot of the things we invented back in the day and worked with natural health physician lines back in the day, and so since we started that movement of using activated carbon, for example, to bind biotoxins, I found a study, freaking in 2005, is they use it in Italy as a cholesterol lowering drug. And I'm like, the mechanism of action is binding bile. Cholestyramine binds bile, and that's what biotoxic illness, Richie Shoemaker out of Pocomoke, Maryland, like mold illness is a big freaking deal. I have a new I have a docuseries coming out called Home Sick Home, how your home is making you sick, toxic, and it's a reason you don't feel well, right? So Home Sick Home, I think the premiere is April 22nd-ish, go to homesickhome.com, shameless plug, but it's for a mission. We went in, saw people's lives sick, everyone's telling them they're crazy. The doctors in their guts know what they say. Freaking knew it was my home. They knew it, and they didn't do anything about it because the real estate agent said it was okay. The builder said it was okay. The person that sold them the home, it said it was okay. But this home was making them sick, right? And we count on the companies, the people that are manufacturing this bull crap. Hopefully it's a solid wood, and trusting that these chemicals are safe. I'm teasing. But they're poisoning ourselves in these homes. And if you can't have a safe home and you have a sick home, your chances of getting well, no matter what you take, what binder, what toxin, you're screwed. So you got to have a safe home. You see that I get excited about it because it was the very thing that gave me my life back. And I did it cheaply and effectively. I just had to keep fighting. Like I had a box fan from Walmart blowing fresh air into my house, 2 dehumidifiers running because it's humid, right? So keeping that humidity below 50%, else you're growing mold, right? I did whatever I could and whatever I could afford. And when I could afford the rip out the carpet and afford the no VOC wood floor, right? And so I'm getting off on that topic, but what were we talking about? I got off
Supplements.
Supplements. So if your home is sick, then
You were talking about your show.
Yeah, mold.
Yeah.
So we invented the binder, right? And so everyone is using it now. All these companies, they're worth millions and millions of dollars. I should have, trademarked and patented the idea, but I don't care because why? Like if I was a business owner, like this is what happens, just like you said, is if it gets people well, then you don't have a business model. So there are good companies that are creating good binders and solutions, but they're very charcoal can be highly polluted and activated carbon can be highly polluted with lead. So once again, they think that it's good. You got to ask for the COAs. I love activated carbon, even if it's organic anything, organic chocolate, it can still be loaded with lead. So be very careful, call the company, Where's your certificate analysis? Is it below? It needs to be below Prop 65. I think California does a great job with Prop 65, that 0.5 level, right? ppm for exposure, because it's smart, because that you can handle that exposure over 10 different things of the day, right? And that's your body's gonna be able to handle that much lead, that 0.5 ppm. But if you're taking a product that's 30 ppm and you're taking that every day, you're not going to get well. You're going to poison yourself with more heavy metals. And that's one of the main things that are aging us. So that is a good product. I like, you can do lots of, I love infrared sauna, like I said.
You like natural, it seems like you have a natural approach.
Yeah. And
That
then
maybe not putting things in, but just going back to nature and sweating it out and putting in good stuff. And
I do take
and
carbon. I do
reversing.
take certain zeolites. Most of them are contaminated too. You got to make sure they're, cleaned up. Right. I don't want to get into that stuff, but most of them are contaminated too. But those can be really great binders, great science. A lot of good science on that. Can't talk about it, else we'll get canceled, like how great it is. But so those sorts of things, yes. But mainly diet, removing the sources coming in, allowing your natural detox pathways. You can use glutathione, you can use a lot of different things, but do it slowly. Take your time. This is a long-term play to get the toxins out. Don't do don't use a ton of chlorella or cilantro. These are weak binders. They can stir things up. In small amounts, they're good, but don't listen to a doctor that says you just need to take this every day, all day for the rest of your life and take it in high dose.
Probably a bad sign, right?
Yeah. It's probably a bad sign. So the natural health, and here's the thing, the natural health community gets all mad at the medical community. But guess what? You do the same thing.
Yeah.
We get money involved. And I'm saying we
You're
as
the opposite end of the spectrum.
Yeah,
It doesn't make you any better, though.
doesn't make you any better, right? So we got to get off that train. Take a self-responsibility look at what are you telling people to do that's absolutely lining your pockets.
At the end of the day, a business is a business.
A business is a business. It's okay to make money, but
And
be honest.
businesses are about growth.
Yeah,
They're not about not growing.
yeah.
Exactly.
So fixing somebody once or giving them some free information that's going to change their life and you're not going to need you anymore is probably not part of the plan.
It's
Right?
like me doing stem cells for my discs that are messed up out of the country.
Yeah. They keep you coming back. You stimulate the economy locally.
Good for you, bro. That's your entrepreneurship coming out. You want to give back. Entrepreneurs are great consumers because we want to help other businesses grow. Like we do it. It's the high-end consumer. There's nothing wrong with that. I actually feel that. Like when I'm spending money, it's like, hey, I might not use this, but it's going back into other people that are doing a great job, and I value. It's great value exchange.
It's part of economic stimulus, right? So we have to. This stuff has to move. And I believe that, life is about movement, right? We know that if water sits, and that's what money is referred to, money has to move. When money stops moving is when everything falls. We got problems, right?
Do you believe the research on water, like when you speak to water in the life?
100%.
Yeah.
I've seen all the research on it.
Yeah.
I've seen the yogurt dishes and the petri dishes react to these emotions.
Yep.
Yeah, our words and mind is a very powerful thing. Yeah, you've never seen the crystalline structure of frozen water?
Negative.
Speaking negative words to it. We've talked about it on the show before. Sometimes this stuff goes right in and out of your head, I think.
Yeah,
Sometimes
sometimes.
believe some of this stuff, right? It really
Sometimes I'm like,
So basically, the reason that you pray for your food or you pray over your food is because it changes its resonance. And this is a scientifically
okay,
documented.
this I know we haven't talked about.
Yeah, we have. We talked about it with Shervin. We talked about it with multiple people, actually.
Shervin was like 3 episodes in one.
Yeah,
It's
but
too much information.
But the water thing is that they know that one they did with plants. They take studies and they show that if you play heavy metal or you play different musics for them that resonate at different frequencies, that they die. That you can kill a plant by looking at it and saying bad things to it. So they'll take 3 controlled studies and they'll say medium road things to this, very negative things to this, and positive affirmation to this, and you can see the growth rate or the structure. So with the water thing is incredible because water actually throws patterns when you talk to it. So when you freeze it and then you look at it under a microscope, it throws geometrical patterns. And so depending on the intention that you have when you're speaking to it, it throws beautiful geometric patterns, like sacred geometry, or it throws fractal, fucked up,
nasty stuff.
So you can see that growth rates change, and it's such as life, right? What do they say? If you ain't got nothing good to say, don't say it, because, the English language especially is is witchcraft in a sense, and everything we says cast spells. All of these things are very,
It's true.
very intentional,
Yeah.
and very, very. There's a reason that languages are structured differently, and
This stuff's all like 10 years ago, I'd have been like, no way. But just the shift in my life and being
yeah,
a parent and watching children, and then I see what I do to my children like,
yeah,
I'm still trying to like figure this out. Like,
yeah.
why am I,
Don't get me wrong. I know about all this stuff,
but it's
and
hard to
practicing
practice.
is like, me, bro. I'm
Yeah.
not the most
Yeah, me either. But that's why my
well-spoken
fifth
person
pillar,
or
the
in control of
toxic
my
mindset.
emotions. So, but I am aware that this is in existence, right?
Yeah.
And that these things go back in time to far before we have knowledge of. So the information's out there, and I hope that people go and find it.
Yeah. I think mindset, the fifth pillar, like I was saying, is one of the greatest things to growth. Sometimes you have to start there before you can even start doing the other four.
Of course.
Because you're beating the shit out of yourself. You don't think you're worth it. You're blaming other people for your problems. Like when you're in that stuck place, you don't give a shit about
Anybody.
Nobody
anything or
does.
anyone, right? So you do, if you're in that place, work on yourself. Like just start speaking life into yourself, like you're changing the geometric structure of yourself. Start being thankful. Like watch Prince EA and his gratitude, and like people that are experts on that.
Yeah.
Tony Robbins, whatever it takes. That stuff that you thought were woo-woo and you blew off because you're a Pennsylvania farm boy like I was, or maybe like you were, and we didn't believe in that stuff. But
Makes a big difference.
It's the thing that really fixed me.
Yeah.
Right? It's just the belief that, hey, I can get well. My body is powerful. God is good. He's not punishing me. He loves me. He loves everybody. He's part of this. He's created this so that we can synergistically work together and accomplish great things. Like spin your messaging. Look at your core belief structures. Be like, this is the premise I live my life on. Hard work equals money. Maybe not. I have to go to church every day to be blessed. Maybe not. Like start challenging your belief structures. And rewriting your history, right?
And if it's too hard for you to focus on yourself, then focus positive energy on someone else and watch it reflect back to you. Could be your children, could be a passion, could be work, could be what's right in front of you. But having a purpose in life, and whatever that may be, will definitely bring some calm and some healing properties to yourself. So obviously we got to take care of ourselves, but some people don't seem to be capable of it. They have that you get to a point where self-harm and negative thoughts and these things get out of control, that if you can't find a way to focus on yourself, then focus on somebody else.
And that
because it is reciprocated.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I remember that. You don't have the energy to give it to yourself, but you can, even like I've noticed, like when I apologize to someone, it feels so good.
Yeah.
Right? It's just like, or if you do something, when I was sick, if I could do something for my mom and dad, even though I was miserable, I still felt good. So you're right on with that.
Yeah. Before we wrap up, is there anything that we didn't share that you want to, give there for the people? And then please, all of your contacts, socials, tell us once again about the show, and we'll put it down at the bottom so everybody knows where to find you and what's coming, and
what I'm up to.
Yeah,
definitely on a mission to grow the channel. So Non-Toxic Dad everywhere. I have a new book coming out soon. Be looking for that in the next couple months. Been working on that with my team. We have the Homesick Home docu-series because it's about education, right?
Yeah.
If you can plant seeds, like you plant seeds.
Yeah.
I love gardening. I'm just planting seeds with Homesick Home, trying to bring awareness. A lot of other people have tried it with, like Dave Asprey has tried it. Richie Shoemaker has tried it. Like the home industry is tough to break into because it's a big industry and there's a lot of money there. So these messages tend to not get out there.
Yeah.
So if you're listening to this, share it because it's going to probably get throttled, right? Because it's just one of those topics that I'm messing with the rental industry. We're messing with the real estate industry.
it's not good for business.
It's not good for business, but
it's
homes
good
are
for your soul.
Yeah, it's great. You need a safe home to lay down at night and heal. And this is community. This is all we got. So the Homesick Home thing is, if I could say one thing, I think that's a really big thing to help share. I podcast. Someone's listening to this. Like I'm ready to get out there more. Non-Toxic Dad is ready to get on the road and come to LA. And there's a lot of great podcasts here. And just that's it, man. I already went into the mindset piece. That's really my crescendo.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really important. But it's been an honor to be here. You guys
Appreciate you coming
are
on.
rocking. Dude,
Thanks
you're
for-
a genius.
Oh, thank you, bro.
I
I
love
just am I have a mind that hears things and remembers it, so I get to repeat other pieces of genius. Not much of it is actually from me, but for some
It's a
reason I
gift,
get to
man.
be a conduit. So that's a blessing.
That's why you're doing this, because you
Yeah.
can. I mean, you're a great.
That's why I
host.
like doing this. Yeah.
Yeah, because you
we
can
just do
sit there
this.
and tell me like I know what he's saying because I read that shit. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
you can actually help out interview like people that are stumbling. You're like,
Yeah.
this is what you need to say, you know, because
Adjust
I got it right here.
One thing I'll add though, while you mentioned that, is that we didn't get on that topic is that we spend what 40% of our life, 30% sleep,
Yes.
and the bedding and stuff.
Super tough.
There's
Yep.
studies on linen bed sheets. Remember that all bed sheets in hospitals used to be linen.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're going back into these fabrics that resonate, right? Linen is a healing fabric. The reason that sheets in hospitals used to be linen because when
They
you
knew.
healed, you laid down on linen and the linen actually healed you, right? It was actually helping you along in your process of healing. The sheets aren't linen anymore. And most of you guys aren't sleeping on linen sheets at home. You're probably sleeping on who knows what type of plastic and
Yeah.
fiber because it's all
soft.
plastic waste
Feels
that's
good.
that's
Yeah.
that's reformulated to be sold again.
Lovely.
So pay attention to what you spend most of your time doing, and you'll find the cause of a lot of things.
Yeah, clean up. Like when I was sick, I cleaned up my bedroom first. I couldn't get the rest of my 700 square feet clean, but I could do that 100 square feet.
No
You
problem.
spend the majority of your time there,
Yeah.
and people forget that we're asleep for this amount of time in our life. So, it is a very high ratio of time spent on Earth is sleeping, right?
Yeah.
Of
And if-
our in this life, we will spend more time doing that than any other place that we spend our time. So
I
start
still
there.
focus on it. So
Yeah.
like even like we're meant to sleep on the ground. You talk about grounding. If you ground this is going to blow up all the natural health guys out. You need to ground everything, but if you ground in bad electric fields, it's not safe because you're become a conduit for bad electricity and electric
And if
fields.
you want to trust the local
Grid.
grid, it's
Good luck.
probably some sketchy shit going on for sure.
So what I've done, and you can do this at home, is use a meter. Actually,
Yeah.
I have one with me. You get an electric field meter and start shutting off on your electric box until it goes to zero. And the night before, you can buy switches to do this, but you just flip those things off so you're sleeping in zero electric fields. And for me, that is like I've had sleep trouble since I've been, got sick. And I'm getting better and better. And I was using CBD I would take mega doses, like
Yeah.
250 milligrams and be like, but I noticed in the day that I was a little foggy,
Yeah.
just overdoing. You should be able to take like 30 milligrams and be fine. And since I've done that, my sleep cycles are so much better because it directly affects your melatonin levels.
Yeah.
And when and if you have bad wiring, like this stuff's nuts. So just getting cleaning up your electric hygiene, they call it, in your room is dope. It just makes a big difference. They call it wax science, but I've read the papers. This shit's for real.
Yeah. Get
All
back
right.
to the earth, guys. Thanks. Like, comment, subscribe.
Mad love.
Sir, we appreciate your time.
Thank you,
Pleasure
sir.
and honor. Love you guys.